Well, hello there, my YouTube friends. Another project begins. This is my pump for my above ground pool there at our house. Uh, yeah. Okay, this is what happens when you trust the manager guy at Pinch a Penny. So my old pump, which was designed for this cartridge system, blew out one day, and it was right before vacation. So took the pump, disconnected it, went down to Pinch a Penny, and he said, "Oh, I have a better pump for you. Everything much gooder, better." And he sold me this. That I said, well, there's a couple of things wrong here. This outlet doesn't face this cartridge. He goes, oh, you have to use this special hose. Now, the problem with this special hose, let me show you, because it's way too long, but that's all he had. So he sold me this hose. When you turn it on, it does that. It does that because there's a whole lot of pressure going through it. Well, that causes a leak, several leaks, as a matter of fact. And these leaks spray on to the pump, or actually the motor in this case. The motor's hot. So hot chlorine on a metal, and eventually it rusts. Not eventually, it really only took a couple of years. The old motor actually lasted about 11 years. This one is not even 5 years, and it's already gone. Its shell is rusting. The feet are no longer attached. So I'm going to replace it. I'm doing this video just to kind of show you guys quickly how it's going to work. But one of the things that I found out that the guy should have told me, and anyway, never trust Pinch a Penny, this whole assembly will rotate. It will rotate, and it will, and then you can buy a kit, or in the case mine, it already had it, and I'd probably throw it away or whatever. This will connect right to this after this rotates, and you don't have to have this silly hose, which will leak all over your motor, cause your motor to rust, destroy the feet, and then you have to replace it. So what we're going to do right now is I got to drain this system, because when you disconnect it, all the water is going to come out of this tank and it's going to go everywhere, and I need it to be not everywhere so I can work with it. This is going to be replaced with the actual waterways connection system. This whole thing is going away, and I'll show you the other one, and we'll connect them together. This connection will stay the same. I just got to add a barb fitting to the new one. And yeah, anyway, Pinch a Penny. Oh boy. Okay, system has been drained as much as I can for now. There's still a bunch of water in the basket, so that when I open it up, there's probably more water, but I'm going to let this dry out a little. So now while I'm working in a mud puddle, let's go take a look at the new pump. And this is the correct pump that should go with this system. As you can tell, I've already rotated this. Apparently most of the pumps now come that way, that you can rotate this outlet. This is where the basket's going to go. I got to connect that together, and then the basket is going to need one of these barb fittings, because that's what the above ground pools use with that flex hose. And then this is the special waterways connector that it's going to have to put in the tank, that will then attach right here. So let's get some stuff together. Okay, I have the pump together. Join the basket, the nozzle to the pump, and we're going to try to put it in. Wish me luck. Hopefully the point of failure here won't leak. Otherwise, well, we'll see. Okay, I've drained out, and I'm trying to remove the old pump. You can really tell that what happened with the chlorine spray. It just ate the bottom of this thing, and this is just all a result of this thing not being set up properly and using a flex hose, because Pinch a Penny. So again, another warning: do not trust them. Do not buy anything from them, unless it's just chlorine and other stuff, because they will charge you too much, and they will set it up in such a way that it will fail prematurely, and you'll be right back buying more stuff. So let's finish getting this thing out of here. Well, I got this guy out. I wanted to try rotating it and get out of my own light. And sure enough, right here, if you push in with either your finger or a screwdriver, the whole assembly will rotate. There's also a way that you can disconnect the basket so that it doesn't rotate, and then you just put it back on. But yeah, essentially, I could have rotated the thing, had it connected correctly, and I wouldn't have had this problem with chlorine spray and rust. So again, pinch a penny, guys. Just do your research, order these things online. They usually come with free shipping. You'll get advice from the people that make it, and you won't run into a problem with, like I did, with you just spent $400 on a $300 pump that then disintegrated because it wasn't set up correctly. Yeah, enough of that. Let's get the new one in. Okay, well, that was fun. New pump is in. 3 possible places where it could leak. They were all hand tightened, so here, here, and there. That one I'm relatively certain of because that's not a high pressure, that's more suction. That one is the old kind of rotating silliness, and then this one is, I screwed it in. I used some recommended sealant, and as well as Teflon tape. So unfortunately, the only way to test this thing is to fill it with water, start the pump, and then be ready to turn it off if all heck breaks loose. Wish me luck, folks. All right, hold the fort. That didn't work. Okay, let me show you something. You should be able to, there it is, look at that. Unfortunately, my first attempt, which I thought had gone swimmingly, resulted in cracks to the coupler between here and here. That is where a lot of the pressure happens, and unfortunately, I don't know if I over tightened it or was moving things around before I got the motor pegged down, which has got 2 little pegs there. Anyway, it started leaking about 3 hours later. Not bad, but it was, you know. So, a little strategy for folks, if they want to do this, is when you tighten this thing down, first off, the way it works is it has to screw into the canister, this big thing, and then it has another ring that goes around here that then joins it to the motor. Got to make sure the motor is really lined up correctly so that the end of the motor goes right into here nicely. There's a gasket. And then tighten it, but maybe just tighten it with your left hand. Don't go crazy. And then turn it on, and it may leak. As a matter of fact, it's probably good that it does leak because that tells you haven't over tightened. And then turn off the motor, give it a little bit of a turn, not much. Turn it back on, see if it leaks. And keep repeating this until it stops leaking, and then you should be good. I think we're all right. I don't really see, I don't see any more leaks, but that's why I hate plumbing, because you never know. So, a little addendum. I had to order a new one of these because this one is shot. Alright, moving on. Okay, now that we're hopefully finished with this project, I'd like to give you some recommendations if you find yourself in a similar situation. The ideal being to use the proper things to seal up the connections, because I know, especially with pool stuff, there's a lot of pressure going through them, and if you get a leak, it usually means you have to start all over. There's water everywhere, and it's a hassle. So you try to get it right the first time. So my suggestion, if you're doing anything with threads, my nemesis, the Teflon tape, learn to use it. Always go in the direction of the threads so that you don't rip them apart when you put it on. And do about 2 layers of this. And then I've just recently started using this, which is a pipe thread sealant. It's yellow, it's kind of goopy, liquidy, and you just kind of smear it on a little bit. It lubricates the screw as you're screwing it in, so it actually gets in there and makes it easier to hand tighten it, because that's the only way you're supposed to do it, is to hand tighten it. And then when it seals up, it stays sticky. It doesn't harden, and it makes a nice barrier just in case the tape and the threads themselves are leaking. So that's a good suggestion for anything like this that's threaded. Anything that has a gasket. This doesn't have a gasket, but you get the idea. Anything that uses a gasket, I always make sure to lubricate not only the gasket, but both sides where the gasket compresses, because what will happen is the gasket will dry out, and the sides of the pipe, let's just say this end of it has got a gasket. You want to lubricate this end, the gasket itself, and whatever is connected to it. When that gasket squishes together, and you turn one of these, the gasket doesn't grab and get deformed. The gasket will slide, and this stuff is really good. It's waterproof. It's much thicker, like a lot of people use Vaseline or something. I used to use that, but it attracts dirt, and it's water soluble. So this stuff stays waterproof, stays thick, and it lubricates the gasket. It's a silicone just like the gaskets themselves, and it'll make it a lot easier, and you'll have a lot less leaks. So hopefully this concludes this project, and we'll move on to other stuff. This is my old pump. This is just to show that it can be done. I've rotated the wet end and realigned the top. So yeah, I mean, these pumps, if you buy them, if you have to get them instead of the water race pump, you can get them to work. Unfortunately, this one with the rust, I've hit it with a lot of rust resolver from Rust-Oleum. Hopefully that'll keep it intact just in case I need it for an emergency pump, or if we have bad flooding, these things will move a tremendous amount of water. So I'm just going to throw it in the workshop or the shed for a while and keep it on standby. Meanwhile, so far, knock on wood, she is pumping water. Got it set to the higher speed, I think. Quieter. Moving water nicely where it should, not pumping it outside of the pool. So keep an eye on it for a couple of days. But I believe always got to check for leaks. There's a little bit of water there. I can't tell because I just had to hose this thing off, and I might have water here and there. As long as it's not dripping, we'll call that a win. If it is, it's not a bad spot, and I'll address it later. But that concludes the project of what happens when you listen to the manager at Pinch A Penny. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.